Our media availability today with 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Ally Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. We're going to open up the floor for questions. If you have a question for 7-time, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Greg, you look very eager, so we'll start up here.
I'm always eager to talk to Jimmie. Good morning, sir. Greg Engel, Auto Week. Obviously, this is not your last, or this is your last full-time season. However, this may not necessarily be your last Daytona 500. That's one question. And the second question is, what are you looking forward to the most when you're not racing full-time anymore?
Yeah, it could be my last 500. It could not. I don't know. I am officially retiring from 38 weekends a year at the end of this season. I do know that. But the right situation, I would certainly consider it. I know that I can't shut off my competitive nature just at the end of the year and call it good. So I would entertain NASCAR, I would entertain IndyCar, sports car, off-road, mountain bike, marathon, a little ski racing recently with my daughter. Like I got to race. So I'm open to things that would be fun, things that are on my bucket list. And of course, if there's an opportunity here with Hendrick Motorsports and being with Rick at some capacity, I'd certainly look at that too. So what I would do, are you thinking next year, this time, what I'll be doing?
Yeah, what are you looking forward to the most? I mean, I know you can talk the grand scheme of things, but what's Jimmie looking forward the most when, we're racing at Dover? And, are you going to sit at home and watch races, or are you looking forward to spending time with family?
I want to know what it's like to be bored. What is that? Like what would that look and feel like? Like I hope to get to that point sometime next year and be like, I'm bored. That's just not me. It's not been me. I'll probably hate it and bury myself with more work in another way. But that's kind of the goal, is just to take a deep breath, reset. Of course, be with my family. Of course, spend time with them. But just chill. Yep.
Go to your right to Zach.
Zach Tanzuetti, kickingthetires.net. Obviously a wild truck race last night. I'm not sure if you were watching, but it came down to Jordan Anderson with that move. Almost won it, but he lost out. What were your thoughts on that underdog near win and what he did last night?
Yeah, he drove a great race, being smart throughout the event. Really liked his move off of 4. And then I assume the contact coming to the finish line, he checked up and the other didn't. He seemed to have the momentum on his side and passing by, and then Enfinger somehow just kind of nipped him. But I was really impressed with his demeanor after the race. I mean, of course, it's a huge moment that he wished was a few feet different, but his excitement and optimism and his smile said it all. It was pretty cool.
Would you be happy if you win on Sunday? Then he was happy?
What, sorry?
Would you be happier than he was if you win?
Oh, would I be happier than? Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm going to, of course, say it that way, but the race to win your final year, I mean, what athlete gets to have that moment or those moments? It'd be insane.
We'll go to the back to John, and then we'll come up front to Holly.
John Reyes from Chicago Race and Race Broadcasting. Jim, after tomorrow race, is there a particular track throughout your career that you would be looking forward to if this is your last year?
I think right away we go back to the track closest to my hometown, Fontana. I've had a lot of race wins there, a lot of special moments. My first win. So, early in the season, we get to one of probably my top 3s that I'm looking forward to going to the most.
Go to Holly.
Hi, Jimmie. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. I wanted to talk about this week, and you seem pretty racy. Are you feeling very optimistic? I know you ran very well in the duels the other day. Would you just talk about the Daytona 500 on Sunday?
Yeah, I feel really good about it. We've had great speed in our 500 car. The first experience I've had with the new body, and all the Chevys did, was in the Clash, and didn't have the comfort that I was looking for in the car there. But since then, we've been making some great changes, and I felt like in the closing laps of yesterday's practice session, we really hit on what I was looking for. Great combination of speed and comfort. And as the plate racing continues to develop, the I'm not sure it's quite tandem, but the bump drafting, the slam drafting that's taking place, that's been probably my weak spot as the week started down here, and it's turned into one of our strengths, and we've kept the speed in the car. So I'm really excited about that. Looking forward to this next practice session and hope we do get a draft going out there. We've tried to exploit that area a bit more, and it'd be nice to have a bit more. Yep.
Go here to your left.
Thank you. Jimmy, Ricardo Jimenez from San Diego, California, Univision. You have a lot of fans in the whole country, right? But in California, you have especially Latinos following you. And they're sad because this is maybe your last Daytona. What can you tell them to follow you and about this sad decision for us?
Well, appreciate them being fans and following my career. And when I really count up the years, this is my 30th season as a professional race car driver. Very fortunate to have had such a long run. I still know that I'll race something in the future and look forward to the fans watching that and being involved with that. But after 30 years, I don't know really any other profession, any other sport that you can have that long of a runway. So I'm very grateful, very thankful, and hopefully, in 21 be on track somewhere, somehow, and give the fans something to look at.
We'll go to Claire, Kelly, Reed, then Hill.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. So I talked to William Byron after the duels, and he's so delightful because I asked him about you being behind him and pushing and whatnot, and he said, "Are you kidding me? I was terrified." He said, "That guy is so good." He said he was just shaking because he knew you were going to go right through him to get to where you wanted. Have you had a conversation with him? He is his thoughts about you being behind him, I thought, were pretty cool.
I'm done talking to him and my other teammates. They use it against me. They're all so good. We talked briefly in Victory Lane, and he said, "Thanks for pushing me." I said, "I wouldn't push you. I was trying to pass your ass." So it's great to have the competitive spirit we do, and I know that I've been very helpful for William and Chase and Alex, and it's something I'm proud of. So of course I wanted to win, but very happy to see the success that all three of them have had and will continue to have. But he's, when you speak to him outside of the car, you form an opinion, then you get in the car and you realize how intense he is and how great of a job he does.
And so were you cognizant of the fact that he was thinking, kind of nervous about you being behind him because you're so good at what you do?
I wasn't aware of that, so I'm glad you let me know. I'm trying to exploit that in future races.
Go next to Kelly.
Kelly, CrandallRacer.com. Jimmy, a lot's been made over the last couple of years, of course, of the 48-team struggle and where you guys have been. But what has it been like from your viewpoint just inside the Hendrick campus for the whole organization? Because this is not, the dominant team it once was, like what Gibbs is currently doing. That used to be Hendrick at one point. What has it been like for you to see what the organization's gone through over the last couple of years not being in that position anymore?
Yeah, I've been racing long enough to know that, teams have their ups and downs, and I've just been so fortunate to be at a company that's had the highest of highs. I've also been very fortunate to have my timing, my crew chief's timing, my manufacturer's timing, and my team's timing all to kind of peak at the same point, and that's how we won 5 in a row. It wasn't any one of us just carrying the line or towing the line. It took us all hitting at that right spot. And I think some elevation and age and experience helps me recognize that. And I also see where Hendrick is going. So yes, we have had a couple lean years, but I know Rick's commitment, I know our team's commitment, and I know the energy that's going on inside the walls of HMS and what's happening and what's going on. So I really feel like 2020 we can be back to the Hendrick that everybody's used to seeing.
We'll go to Reed, then to Hill, then to Jenna, then to Al.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire. 2 quick ones. I thought IndyCar was off the table for you. Is that changed? And do you expect the new short track package this year to help you and be more comfortable for you at the places where you've traditionally been dominant, like Dover and Martinsville?
Yeah, as far as open wheel, the 500s passed for me in I'd say Texas, and really the ovals. Those fast ovals for sure. The smaller ovals maybe. I haven't had enough conversations to figure anything out, but road course racing for me definitely looks like a good proposition. And what's opened my mind to that was driving that F1 car a couple years ago. I had no idea cars could do that. Like I want to do some more of that. That was really a lot of fun. So that's that. We'll see what this year brings and what opportunities might pop up for 21. But the second question was
Short track package at Denver and Martinsville.
yeah, I feel like the more you need to drive the car with your right foot, the better I am. So I'm excited to see that. And then just knowing how tough it was and how aero dependent the cars were, even on the smallest of tracks like Martinsville, was a bummer. And I'm happy to see that change and get some air dropping down back behind the lead car and helping the other cars handle. Yep.
Go to Hill.
Hi, Jimmy. Over here to your right, Hill Overton, WNDB. I've had the pleasure and extreme privilege of covering you since day one at Hendrick Motorsports, and you've had just a super career there. All these championships, obviously the 5 consecutive have to rule is top of the notch, probably never to be duplicated. But what is something behind the scenes, some satisfying thing? What gives you the greatest thrill, the greatest total satisfaction of that whole career you've had there?
I'd say the experiences with my teammates and team members. The driver gets all the glory. We all know that and see that when you work in the sport. But behind the scenes, the amount of people that work on those cars and put in the effort and really help drive technology and bring that advantage to the track, it's mind blowing. And then when you have your core group of road crew guys and girls and those experiences, those relationships, that bond. I guess to maybe summarize it, the locker room, that it's easy for others outside of our sport to see that locker room is really the cool thing about it all.
Go next to Jenna, then to Al, then to Tyler.
Hey, Jimmy. The Ford team owners were in here yesterday making it really clear that it's one Ford. If their team can't win, then a Ford has to win. I know you guys last year worked a weird deal with Toyota to help them with their numbers. I mean, what is the status or plan going into Sunday if Chevrolet has made one?
Yeah, I think all the manufacturers are kind of netting out in the same spot now. I feel we had great success early by being so unified, but I think as last year went on, we were too predictable. So being more fluid, more dynamic, whichever word we want to pick, is key, and I think the duels kind of showed that. We're kind of under the same impression that we just need a Chevy to win. Of course, we want it to be ourselves, but when you have that choice to make, that option to make, I'm going to be looking for a bow tie.
Al?
Yeah, Jimmy, Al Pierce from Auto Week. Has there been any time in the last 2.5 years when y'all thought maybe Ron Mallett should come back? I mean, seriously, have y'all talked to him about maybe rejoining the role he used to have?
No, because he's still at the shop, doing all the things that he's done. It's not like there's been a complete departure, and Ron has really trained Austin, who's on the 88, and then Jesse, who's on our car, his ultimate replacement. He kind of grew both those guys and brought them along, and to us on the inside, it just seems seamless. I don't know. His influence is still very much a part of the culture of the 48 and what goes on. So, the at-track side, I know I miss him. I want to see him around, but I haven't felt like we lost something when Ron took the shop job. He did a great job of training guys that came in, were ready to go.
Thank you. Tyler?
Hey, Jimmy, is working in the media at all any interest to you? Possibly working with Jeff or Dale, reuniting with those two?
It could be down the road. I feel like I still have things I want to do and accomplish behind the wheel. And when that fades, then I would say that maybe there's a chance. I haven't pursued that or put much time or effort into it, but I still have stuff I want to accomplish behind the wheel.
Well, Jimmy, thank you for taking the time this morning, and good luck this weekend.
Cool. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.